Hi, this is Justin Smith, and this is the Listen Now campaign, which is an initiative from Tobin Brothers Funerals, who want us to have better conversations around mental health while we're going through the COVID-19 crisis. You can follow the campaign. Please do so on all of the social media platforms. Just go to the hashtag Listen Now. I wanted to speak today to Wayne Gatt, who was a policeman for many years and is also the secretary of the Victorian Police Association and very much a community leader. And I wanted to catch up with him and talk to him about how he's going during COVID and also how his members are going. Wayne, it's good to see you, mate. It's good to see your face. It's good to see any face at the moment, isn't
it? Well, it's nice to be somewhere. I just wish we could be in person, but you got to work with what you've got, Justin, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Look, I guess, you know, from your point of view, you have a lot of conversations with people that are really at the pointy end of this thing. How have those conversations been going? I mean, what are they saying to you right now?
Well, it's been a long 18 or so months, to be honest. And what we've seen is a real change in, not only the mindset, but I think in the health of our members. And, you're right, police, Justin, are at the pointy end. There hasn't been a day in this pandemic where they haven't been asked to really go out there and confront the very worst of what's been going on. And we really didn't expect that for them. And they probably didn't expect it for them too. When we thought pandemics, for example, we probably thought doctors and nurses in the main. And, that's what we all envisaged as being the front line of this thing. What's really emerged is that the front line of this has also become our streets, our schools, our shopping centres, our roads, our borders, and that's put police right in the firing line, I suppose. They've been everything, Justin, from scared to nervous to stressed out, and really trying to balance all of the pressures that they've faced as people in our community, as mums and as dads, that we've all faced, you and I have faced, as well as putting that, straight face on, poker face on when they have to go to work, but they're now confronted with a different enemy that they can't see, and that's unusual for them.
I saw that footage from the last protest, that last rally, and Victoria Police dressed in riot gear, for want of a better term. I know it'll have a more technical term. They're dressed up in riot gear against some incredible violence and against some incredible anger. That has got to take its toll to be confronted with something, not just the physical danger that they were put in with flares being thrown and frozen bottles of water and whatever else was being chucked at them, but that mental kind of, they're fellow citizens that they've got to come up against. That must just be bloody incredible.
Yeah, it's an amazing melting pot. What you saw there was, a demonstration or a violent demonstration. They're not new to us, whilst that was a particularly bad one. We've had them before. They're confronting for all the reasons that anybody would expect, the fear of physical injury, the reluctance to want to really have to confront that sort of violence. But when you couple that with the fact that every one of our members out there was worried about whether they'd take COVID home to their sons and their daughters or their partners or their pregnant wives, to their elderly parents, they don't get a choice in that. And whether they were vaccinated or not, they know they can still contract COVID-19 and pass that on to the people that they love that may not be protected yet. That's really traumatic for them. That's really stressful for them. And then, that other dimension, you're quite right. There are some people at those protests, and whilst we have a view that we'd say that no one should really go to a protest like that at a time like this, it's counterproductive. They do get the community is confused, is under pressure, is stressed. They've got a difficult job to do, an unpopular job to do, but it's one that has to be done. They don't want to see the community locked down for a day more than it has to be. More than anybody, I suppose, in the community, they want it to be open. But they're challenged. They're challenged in all those different directions. They take that home. They really do. And it's very, very stressful, Justin.
They're confronted with, their own mental health, but also having to deal with the mental health of other people, people that are under a great deal of strain. And I think it's been decades since we've seen people under this kind of strain, and that the police having to deal with them. I mean, you must be seeing things in the community that are going to be very, very hard to forget.
Well, I'd say this. The majority of our police officers have never seen the community like this. They don't know that. And, if you think about the average policing career being 30 years, if you think that, even our longest serving members have probably done mid-40s, we're going back to, we would be reaching back to periods where the country was at war to find the community under similar strain. The majority of our members have never seen that. They've never experienced that sort of hardship in their lives or seen the community there. But I think one thing's for sure, Justin, and we see this all the time, when communities are under strain, are under pressure, they actually turn to their police for help. They turn to them for support and for leadership and for guidance. They're used to doing that. That's what the whole essence of 000 is about. When you really need somebody, who do you call? And to some extent, when police find themselves in the middle, caught in the middle with popular rules that are seen to be adding as much pressure as they're helping people from. And I think people truly get that.
Yeah.
When they really unpick that in the community, they understand the rules are there for a reason, but they also understand they come with some pain. The people that they can often lash out at are the people that sadly have to bring those rules to them, to become the face of those rules. That's been challenging for our members. And seeing the community hurting, seeing people losing their jobs, people that they work with, care about, share streets with, whose kids go to school with their kids, that's tough. That's really tough.
There's something that sort of changed a bit too, is not just the kind of people protesting, but we started off with that. This time last year was very much, hey, we're all in this together. Come on, we're all in this together, and sort of holding our fists up in the air. That has changed a little bit too. We've sort of picked sides a touch more, people, anti-vaccination, anti-lockdown, New South Wales versus Victoria, all that kind of crap has seeped in a little bit here, hasn't it? And it's become, from we're all in it together to, hey, what are you looking at?
I think you're right. I was funny you say this, because I was reflecting on this just yesterday, and I thought, I remember the videos, the everybody get vaccinated videos, and the community talk around we're all in this together, in particular, that sense of team. And you're right, it has split into a bit more of division and different polarized views. I think what we're seeing here is a community that over time had, and at the start had a great degree of hope that we could get through this. As time goes on through a crisis, people start to lose a little bit of hope when they can't see the end point, or the end point keeps moving and shatters their sense of we're going to get there. It's hard that we'll get to the end. It makes it harder for them to believe in a collective sort of mission. But this is where police in the community actually have a role. It is about keeping us and helping us keep on track, holding us together. And, sometimes that's been a difficult role for us, but it's important, because as people waver a bit, and that's natural and that's normal, because we're all human beings. As some of us struggle in the community to see where the end might be, it's important that we stay the course so that we can all get there. Because I think once we do, and we will, once we get there, we'll realise that it's actually those times when we work together as a community that actually got us to the end bit. Everything in between, those little slip-ups, those points of frustration, those points of difference, they're all normal reactions of people in the community, but they won't have contributed much to the end and victory or getting us to where we need to get to.
For you personally, Wayne, what do you do about it? How do you cope with it?
Well, I think everybody confronts this to some extent. When you're in a lockdown, every day sort of bleeds into the next. It seems like you're in this never-ending cycle of, wake up, go to work, which is in the next room, do your work, work longer hours than usual, maybe watch 1 or 2 TV shows and go to bed and do it all over again. If you're lucky, you can get to do it on your weekends too. It is tough. It is tough when you have to do it. It becomes this monotonous drone. And I think we've taken for granted that human interaction that we all crave so much exists for many of us in our working lives, in our club lives, in our school drop-offs and pickups, in all of those things that we do. So for me, It's focusing on stuff that I can inject that isn't my business as usual. Is it me doing dinner tonight and doing something we haven't done for a while with my kids and getting them off the couch to help me? Is it me really valuing that extra time that I could take for granted, but that maybe is a byproduct of lockdown? We can see those boys and say, do you know what? Ordinarily, I'd be driving home from work still at this time of night, but I'm actually here. So let's do this bit together. Let's talk about that.
And I think last thing, Wayne, I think, I don't just say this because we're sitting across from each other here, is that I regard you as a very strong leader in Victoria. Has leadership been an important thing for you to be good at that, to improve your leadership abilities so that, when people are struggling, they know that you're the guy that's going to be able to help them out the other side? Has that been an important part for you as well?
It has, and it's something that policing taught me early in terms of leadership is in any crisis, in any emergency, people look to their leaders and they want to see cool and calm and they want to see the answers. Now, truth is, we don't have all the answers when it comes to this sort of an emergency because we've never been here before. But I think in leadership, having a degree of empathy with people, recognising what we're seeing in them is normal, and letting them see that what they see in themselves is something that you're experiencing to some degree too. Yeah. I think having a degree of being vulnerable to some extent helps them realise that, what I'm experiencing is actually normal. And so long as they can see that other people around them can continue, can function, can move towards the end and get out of the situation, I think that gives them a degree of hope that they need and a bit of help that they need. That's an important part of leadership, whether you're doing it with your family, your kids, your partner, whether you're doing it with your team at work, or indeed, like we have to at times with our 18,500 members and the broader Victorian community. They're looking for stability, for empathy, compassion, and they want to see that you're one of them and that you get it and that you understand it, and in a circumstance like this, that you actually feel it too.
For all your members, on behalf of everybody, watching this, we wish them all the very best. They're not the enemy. It's a very, very important part of what I think, needs to come across. They are not the enemy, and we wish them all the best, and we look forward to seeing you on the other side, mate. Thank you.
All the best, Justin. I'll look forward to catching up for a real coffee too.
That would be good. Put it in the diary, mate. Not too far away. I look forward to that very much. Thank you.